All right, this is ScareTalk. I am Danny, and I'm here with creepy Katrina, and of course, Beetlejuice Joel.
I thought you were
Hey,
just going
guy.
to say juicy.
I was thinking that.
The juice is loose, Joel.
Man, we might give Joel this job.
That was a line in the sequel, so
It
yeah.
was.
Okay.
All right, so we are here to talk about the two Beetlejuice films. The original from 1989, I believe. 88. Okay. Beetlejuice from 1988. And then after we're done talking about that and rating it, then we will go into Beetlejuice from this year, 2024.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, Joel, can you tell us who is a part of Beetlejuice from 1988?
All right. So there's several people I can say because a lot of people had like the same amount of screen time, or close to it. But these are the ones that I'm sticking with here. So this one stars Alec Baldwin. He was in 139 episodes of 30 Rock, The Hunt for Red October, The Edge, and I had no idea, but the Thomas and Friends, Thomas Tank Engine, he was in 67 episodes. He was, and it's like when I was looking through his filmography, like there were multiple Thomas Tank Engine. Like he was a narrator for like all of those, for like all of those cartoons. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Interesting.
Wow.
He was also Cat in the Hat.
No, he was in that. Yeah.
Oh,
he wasn't the cat.
He wasn't the cat.
No.
No,
That was
but
Mike
he was in
Langer.
Cat in the
Yeah,
Hat.
but he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he kills people in real life. What do you know?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. And then we've got Gina Davis. She was in The Fly. Thelma and Louise, which I think we should do The Fly at some point. That'd be kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
The Long Kiss Goodnight, which I loved. And most recently, Blink Twice.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we've got the Juice himself, Michael Keaton. He's last because he's only in like maybe 15 minutes of this entire movie. It's very, very short. But he was Batman and Batman Returns. And he was in Mr. Mom and White Noise, which is like another semi-horror movie, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was written by Michael McDowell. He did the story and the screenplay. And he did The Nightmare Before Christmas. It said adapted by, so I don't know exactly what that means. Thinner, the Stephen King novel, and 11 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, which I don't know. I've never seen that before.
Okay.
and then we've got Larry Wilson did the story, and he wrote The Addams Family, Little Vampire, and 5 episodes of Tales from the Crypt. Now that I do know about.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then last, we got Warren Scarons. There's 2 A's in the middle there. He did the screenplay. He wrote Fire with Fire, Batman, and Beverly Hills Cop 2. He passed away in 1990, so like right when his career was basically taken off. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So Batman was the last movie he wrote. Yeah, and it was directed by Tim Burton. He directed Batman, Batman Returns, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Mars Attacks. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know he did Mars Attacks. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's very Tim Burton.
Yeah. All right. So the spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home, and they hire a malicious spirit to drive them out. So this is light horror, I guess you could call it. Horror light.
It's it's categorized as comedy horror.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so of course we're gonna stay away from spoilers for both of the films, and then if you want to join us for our thoughts on the spoiler stuff, you can go to patreon.com/ScareTalk and sign up there. Please also like and subscribe to our channel. It helps out a lot. gives us more exposure. It helps people find our channel a little easier. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. And now, let's hear what the critics have to say.
Yes. So for the 1988 film, Rotten Tomatoes calls this pretty fresh. It's got an 83% on the tomato meter.
Okay.
And it has fresh popcorn as well. The popcorn meter is 82%. So pretty even.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone's drag racing.
Wow, I can hear it from
Wow.
over here.
You can hear it all the way in Idaho.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's crazy.
And then IMDb has it at a 7.5.
Okay.
And then Google is at a 4.3.
All right. Cool. High scores.
Yeah.
There, all around all across the board.
It's always been kind of classic that people really rave about, love.
Yeah.
Now I want to know.
The true.
I want to know what you guys, if you guys saw this in your youth, because I maybe did, but I didn't remember it at all, and I maybe had never seen it. It came out in 1988, and I didn't watch a lot of movies that came out like when I was first born or even before my time. In my youth, I didn't start watching 80s movies really until I was an adult. So I very well could have not seen this movie until just like today. So I think that plays a factor in my thoughts on the film. Joel, did you watch this when you were younger?
I'm in the same boat. There are parts that I remember. I don't remember exactly. I remember Michael Keaton being like a little cartoony, but I don't remember him being like that cartoony, like Jim Carrey in The Mask cartoony. And I remember the sandworm, but other than that, I don't remember anything about this movie. I remember that Alec Baldwin was in it as well, but yeah, I couldn't have told you anything about this movie up until when I recently watched it. So I think I may have watched it, but it's been decades with an S. So
all right, what about you, Katrina?
I definitely was not allowed to watch this movie as a kid.
Okay.
I remember it being not allowed to watch movie. And so I didn't see it until later, but much sooner than you. And I do remember like growing up knowing the song, the
Deo.
Yeah. Hey.
I think that was just a known song.
It was a known song.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it got big because of the movie.
Yeah, I think it did.
And it was something that, you knew was from the movie, whether you'd seen the movie or not. Well, I guess I knew. I mean, I just felt like that was kind of a known thing. And I knew that scene, the dinner scene.
The most random scene in the movie, I think.
Yeah, but that was definitely like, even though never being allowed to see the movie. Here's the thing. I wasn't allowed to see the movie, but I remember watching it at a friend's house. I don't remember watching it all the way through, but I remember that scene for sure. And I like that scene was a very known scene. I feel like it was in commercials. I feel like it was like, that was just a very well-known, to me, a well-known scene.
Yeah, I could see it being in commercials or something. I didn't know it was connected to the movie.
Yeah, and I knew, like, I mean, that's how I know Catherine O'Hara, and like, I mean, of course, other things as well.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know, that was like a big thing. And I do remember watching it. I think high school was probably the first time I watched it. I don't remember liking it then. I really didn't remember much of it other than that scene. And like Joel said, I remember that sand thing. I remember the certain stuff happening, like the eyes bulging and that kind of stuff. But I didn't remember the full story. I remember you can't say Beetlejuice 3 times, of course. But then I remember watching it as an adult and thinking it was horrible. Like, I did not like it and never cared about watching it again until the new one was coming. And then I'm like, okay, I want to see this again and watch the new one.
Yeah.
But I always have wondered, why is this movie such a big hit? And I just remember thinking, Beetlejuice was so raunchy and gross. I did not like him.
I mean, he's gross.
Yeah. He's sleazy. He's like a sleazy, used car salesman type of character. It's what he's supposed to be. So it just goes along with everything else that he's being sleazy about.
And I can definitely see why I wasn't allowed to watch it growing up. It's just ugh. And then watching it now, no higher opinion.
Really?
I didn't really care for it. I will say, not because of those reasons, but it's just not my thing. I've never been a big fan of Tim Burton films. I like the 2 Batman ones that he did, but those are not as over the top and ridiculous and Tim Burton-y as something like this. Never really cared about Edward Scissorhands. Frankenweenie is one that I like. And Nightmare Before Christmas, which I think that's Tim Burton presents. I don't even think he
had nothing to do with the actual movie.
Which is funny because I feel like when you hear Tim Burton, that's what you think of.
Because his name is on the poster.
Huge.
Yeah.
And that animation.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of Tim Burton films where it's just not for me. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. I just am like, okay, you guys have fun with that, and I'll watch something else.
I'm not a huge Tim Burton fan. I do like Edward Scissorhands. And to be fair, I don't not like this movie now. It's not for the same reasons. Before, I just couldn't stand Beetlejuice. I thought he was so terrible. But now watching it recently, it was more so about it. I don't know. It just didn't do much. I feel like the beginning of the movie, before Beetlejuice came, was a good movie.
It was interesting.
Yeah,
it was grounded. It was more grounded.
Yeah, but then once he got involved and everything, and it just kind of just dropped. There wasn't any peak or excitement or anything. It just was all right,
there it is. It's over.
It's over. And it just was over.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joel?
I think I liked it a little bit more than you guys did. There definitely was a better story without Beetlejuice in there. I really liked the story that they were telling with Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. This isn't a spoiler because it happens in the first 10 minutes of the movie, but the whole movie is basically about them going through the afterlife, basically, and just and that world itself is interesting and unique. That Tim Burton put out there. And so it would have been a better story if they stuck with that and them exploring the afterlife and, still trying to get the family out of the house. Nothing had to change except for Beetlejuice not in it. Maybe the title changed because it's not Beetlejuice, but, they could have still ended the same way that it did. and just I did have fun with it. He is incredibly over the top. I think he does a lot in this movie. He tries to be like 90s Jim Carrey. Actually, Jim Carrey tried to be Beetlejuice in the 90s.
Yeah.
But he pulled it off better, I think, in his crazy zany movies. But so I've heard the practical effects, which I do appreciate that, that it was all practical effects in this. I hear that it was outdated, but I feel like the world that he created was intentional. I feel like even for 1988, those effects were probably a little silly, and I don't think he was going for like a masterpiece when he doing the practical effects and stuff. So I do appreciate the world, the practical effects and everything still today, because I feel like it was an intentional move on his part. So it's I don't know. It is a weird one because I do like the majority of the movie, but Michael Keaton's character just goes a little above and like way beyond. It's just to the point where it probably is going to knock it down a couple points. But I still like the story that was being told.
Yeah.
And the acting was really good. And like good. The directing was good. Like everything about the movie was good. It was there. And it was just Michael Keaton just kind of did too much.
Which is funny because it's the name of the movie. It's the character that is the name of the movie.
Yeah.
And and he's not in it for more than half the film.
Yeah, he's in it for maybe 15 minutes of the entire movie.
Yeah, I found really interesting.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like he's the movie, but the whole movie without him was the best part. Yeah. And so once he came, it was like, you're the worst part of the movie.
It's kind of like goofy and kind of funny at first for a second. It's like, oh gosh, this guy is, really gonna, because they're like typical normal people.
Yeah.
And they're just like trying to, they have this urgent matter that they're trying to solve. And then they're like, okay, we have to do this. And so he comes in. And so it's kind of funny at first, the like dynamics, but that fades pretty quickly.
Pretty quick. And the whole like, oh no, don't bring him, like that worry of like getting him there was to me more entertaining than the actual having him there.
Yeah.
But the transition,
how his name was spelled.
Yeah, that was so confusing to me. Like, why have the actual title of the movie be different than how you're going to spell it in the movie?
Well, it's probably because the way it's spelled looks German. I would assume that it's like a German spelling. That's spelled probably the same as it's pronounced. It's just we're in America, so they have to dumb it down, kind of like how would you really say that if you were to say if you didn't know it was Beetlejuice? Like,
it looks like Beetle Guys.
Yeah.
But why even put it in the movie that way?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
even if you like if you know that you have to dumb it down for us or something, like
it's his last name. He has a German last name.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but
Stephen Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and then if that's
it's not
title of the movie,
yeah,
that's weird. What is this, a German film?
No, but why spell it that way in the first place?
Because it's his last name. You can't change his last name.
It's not. There's writers.
He's a real person. It's his last name.
But
it's based on a true story.
He doesn't pronounce it that way.
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
And nobody even says it. Like the first time that that it's really said. Like Alec Baldwin looks at it and says Beetlejuice, but like a couple of scenes later, I think it was Gina Davis's character is like Beetlejuice, but that's not what you said though. Like it's that,
exactly. Like when it was first presented, they actually said Beetlejuice, and so then it was like, when did it change? I was waiting for like the writing to change or something, and it never changed. But then they just started saying Beetlejuice, and I'm like, was it just like an accident? Like they accidentally said Beetlejuice, and then they're like, oh, actually, we kind of like that better, and then they never changed the writing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Beetlejuice. I mean, it's just a gross name, you know, and it goes with the character.
Yeah,
of Beatles.
But so then why spell it the other way?
It's his name.
You can make all these excuses all name. You want.
That's all it is. He's German folklore.
It's not. No.
I mean, it could be. I don't know much about German folklore, but
it's German folklore. They're trying to keep
you guys,
with tradition.
True.
Can't change it. And they had to put that title because it's like, you don't want to confuse people. Like it's a German film, so
yeah.
There you go. I 100% am making this up. But as far as positives, I will say, the story was pretty good. The acting was good. I will say there was some comedy in the like the underworld or the afterlife
or
the beyond or whatever. That stuff was kind of fun, I guess. I would say not funny, but it was fun to see on screen. It was like really creative and cool little effects and different characters and things like that. And for some reason there's like, you can have these grotesque and violent looking things be on screen, but it not be like scary. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird how in this movie it's like playful, but if you put that in a different movie, it's like horrific and like gory, and it's like something with the way it's done is a little easier to stomach.
I think it depends on the age group too. Like a kid might find that to be kind of scary, but like an adult, it's this movie is played for gross humor and laughs.
Yeah.
But to a child, I think there are things in this that they actually might get scared by. So it is very mild horror.
Yeah.
IMDb doesn't even say this movie is horror. It says that the sequel's horror, but it doesn't give that for this one. So I'm like, it's kind of weird, but they're basically the same type
comedy horror. Is that what you read?
On Google it says comedy horror.
Oh, okay.
What does it say on IMDb?
IMDb gives it a bunch of stuff, but horror is not on there. Like they give it fantasy, which I can see.
Supernatural or something.
Yeah, supernatural.
Comedy, family.
Dark comedy. Dark fantasy. Quirky comedy. Supernatural fantasy. Comedy fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all different versions.
Definitely. Definitely the dark comedy. Or like not even dark comedy, just like
it's kind of like gross. Slapsticky a little bit.
I know, it's gross comedy.
Gross comedy. I don't think that's an option. So.
Yeah. I mean, the Beetlejuice part at least is gross comedy.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
I wonder. I wonder if that is Beetlejuice in German.
No, it's not. It's. I don't think
Katrina
that's
knows
how it's
German.
pronounced.
If you say Beetlejuice 3 times, you get a German Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Wonder what he's like. Oh man, she's looking all this stuff up.
Serious business.
So I know Michael Keaton loved playing this role.
Yeah,
and he was super excited and really pumped to play Beetlejuice again for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. But before we get to that one, let's go ahead and rate this one.
I mean, honestly, for an actor, it's a great
it's
role.
Cool.
Like, it's fun. Yeah. Like, it's just like especially for someone who went from this directly to Batman. Like, Batman was 89 and this was 88.
Yeah, he's got quite a career.
Yeah. So it's definitely an acting role that's like, I'm sure a lot of actors would love to have.
Yeah.
Because it's just like off the wall and just zany humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he I mean, like, his voice and everything.
Yeah,
he has like such a unique, like,
I
mean, that is Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
like,
his voice. I did like his voice. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
because that's not how his actual voice is.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not like a huge like. I don't know. I don't talk to Michael Keaton regularly. So.
Oh, you don't? I talk to him like once a week.
So I don't know.
There was one scene in this movie that I thought was pretty funny, where he's in like the waiting room in the afterlife, and he's like sitting on the couch next to like this like very burned victim. And he like offers him a cigarette, and he's like, no. And he's like, oh, I'm trying to quit myself. It's like the burn victim. It's like, okay.
He's just like an ash body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that. It was pretty funny. The
Those
afterlife
kind of
stuff was funny.
Yeah.
And all the different like ways people like you can create in your head. Like, okay, how did that person die? Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's rate it.
Okay.
Who wants to start?
Joel.
Me? All right.
You give the like where to go from.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get the starting point.
So yeah, I like this one. So you're like, okay, even if you wanted to go higher than me, you're like, I can't go higher than him.
Can't go higher than him now. Yeah.
I mean, unless you give it like a super low score out of nowhere.
This is like a 30.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely not
like,
a 30.
Man, okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed the story of this. The practical effects are really, really good. Well, I mean, not really good, but I mean, to me, they were still like, even today, they weren't like terrible, and they weren't supposed to be great in the first place. I don't think. I'm giving this an 81.
All right.
I liked it. I mean, like I said, Michael Keaton was over the top, but he wasn't in it that much. Yeah. Like, his presence was throughout the entire movie, but actually seeing him was just like 15 minutes. But he just talked really fast, so it seemed like he was in it a lot more.
Yeah, when he's only wearing the striped clothes for a very brief period of time.
Yeah,
and that's like his costume. That's what everybody would know him as, and he's not even wearing it that much.
Yeah,
it's really weird. All these things happen.
He's not wearing, and not that he's not wearing much, but like if he only has 15 minutes in the whole movie, and not in that whole 15 minutes, then when he wears the striped suit, it's probably just as much time. Yeah, and it's just as much time as wearing any of the other things he wore.
It's just this movie came out in 1988. So this is what, 36 years ago. I think. Yeah. If I'm adding it up right.
Yeah.
And a 15-minute character lasted that long. There's never been a sequel.
Been a huge
it's crazy.
Thing. Yeah.
I mean, Candyman, like Tony Todd was only in the first movie for
Yeah, but there's
less than that.
Candyman, and Candyman's not that big a deal to people. Like people aren't walking around like loving Candyman. Like,
I mean, he's huge in
love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, he's huge in the horror community, but Beetlejuice is more widely known.
Yeah,
pop more people.
Beetlejuice
is part of pop culture for
huge in every realm. And he's like, I mean, he's like a staple for Halloween. Like,
yeah.
I think part of it is just the look, the like, the you know, just
it's Tim Burton, man. People just really gravitate toward that stuff.
I know, and what is it?
Like, just quirky, off the wall, interesting, like character look, and like it's dark, and
because people love Nightmare Before Christmas and like all that stuff.
I like that one.
We need to dive into more Tim Burton horror on this channel. I think
we can you guys to.
I'm thinking Mars Attacks. Honestly, that would be my go-to right there.
That's a comedy.
It is, but there's a
lot of people in that.
Mars is attacking, so
so there's
but you should you should see what they look like when they're attacking. All right, what are you gonna rate it?
Okay, so here's the thing. This is not a movie that I would ever be like, oh my gosh, let's watch Beetlejuice. No, never. But I thought I was going to give this like a really bad score because I have never liked Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But the beginning of the movie, until Beetlejuice comes, is actually like, I did enjoy the movie. I did enjoy it until Beetlejuice came. You look like you were falling asleep.
I'm not falling asleep. Give your rating.
Okay. Anyway, and so I feel like I should give it a higher score. Joel gave it an 81.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 70.
All right. And I was thinking 72 the whole time, so I'll stick with that.
Bam, 72.
Yeah. It was all right.
And I'm falling asleep for you.
I mean, I'm not gonna like, just throw this on like whenever, but if I'd still watch it.
You're clearly gonna watch it a lot more than me.
Oh yeah. I'll probably watch it like once a year at this point. Now that
oh my gosh, once a year,
once every couple of years.
I'll watch it another 20 years.
I actually like the story of this movie.
Beetlejuice comes.
Yeah, and another 36 years.
All right, so we're done with that one. Now, 36 years later, 2024, we've got the sequel, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. All right. So, Joel, who is a part of this one?
All right. So this one stars Michael Keaton. He was in Pacific Heights, which is a 90s psychological thriller. Jack Frost, the kid-friendly one. There's also a horror movie called Jack Frost.
Yes, there
is. And The Founder, which is a McDonald's story, which I thought was pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Doesn't he play Ronald McDonald? Isn't it the origin story of
Tom? I don't. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's the origin story of the owner.
Yeah. I like how Joel was going along with it. He's like,
wait a second.
Ronald McDonald. Yeah. That's the origin story of the mascot.
Of the clown, yeah. That might actually be kind of an interesting story, though. Like, why the clown?
Why the clown?
Why the clown? We got Winona Ryder. She was in Alien Resurrected, which is the fourth of the Alien films. Okay. Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is one I kind of want to do on the channel.
Of course you do.
I do, because that's a great movie. Lost Souls and Stranger Things, which is wrapping up next year.
Yep.
And then we got Catherine O'Hara. The two actors I didn't say from the first movie because they, the other actors did have more screen time. I thought Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, but these two have just as much here. And she was in Home Alone 1 and 2, and 80 episodes, or the entire show of Schitt's Creek, which is a great show.
Moira.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, she is Sally. She's the main character voice of. Yeah. And she is going to be in, well, it says 3 episodes, but who knows? The Last of Us season 2. She's going to be 3 episodes of that. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing her character in that.
Interesting.
Which is one we should cover on the channel. Just saying. There's a lot of stuff. But that first season is amazing. This was written by Seth Grahame-Smith. He did the story, and he wrote Dark Shadows, which is another Tim Burton movie. He did the novel and the screenplay for Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And he did the novel. Yeah, that's a fun one. And he did he wrote the novel for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And the Lego Batman movie.
Oh, nice.
A random one thrown in there. And then an upcoming sequel that is, I should have gotten it a long time ago, but Now You See Me 3. He's writing.
Oh, okay.
The Magic Now You
Magician.
See Me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which second one left it off on a cliffhanger, which they never talk about until now, apparently. Okay. And then we've got Alfred Gauge. I never know how to pronounce that guy's name. Gauge, whatever. He did the story and screenplay, and he created Smallville. 217 episodes of that show. Created Wednesday. Wrote Spider-Man 2 and wrote the story for Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh,
wow.
And Miles Miller, who is his writing and I think directing partner as well. They both direct. Did all of the same things that Alfred did, but also Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and the upcoming Shanghai Dawn, which is part of the Shanghai trilogy. Yeah.
Is it going to be Jackie Chan?
They both have to be in it. Jackie Chan and
Owen Wilson, right?
Owen Wilson, yeah. They both have to be in
it. That's cool.
And again, this was directed by Tim Burton, who directed Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and Frankenweenie.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. All right. So after a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River, still haunted by Beetlejuice. Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter, Astrid, accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. That's kind of a lot of information.
That was a lot of information.
But she gets into the afterlife pretty late into
Does she do it though?
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a little while. I think we should wait on that.
Well, we know she gets in there.
Yeah, but we don't know how yet. So let's wait for spoilers. So people aren't disappointed. I think that was a spoiler-filled description.
Yeah.
But let's see what the critics think of it.
It's a brand new movie.
After you press subscribe, just in case you haven't.
Do it.
And like it. All right. Now.
Pause for that.
Yep. Had to give you some time to do it. Rotten Tomatoes still finds this to be fresh. This time, the tomato meter has it at a 76.
Okay.
The popcorn meter has it at an 82. So the audience likes this one a bit more than the other one. IMDb has it as a 7.2, and Google has it at 3.5.
Wow. It was a 4.7 or 4.3 before for the first one?
Yeah, the first one had it higher. So
I will say right off the bat, I liked this a lot more. Not trying to compare because we're not there yet, but I directly compared.
We may. Well, I mean, you're gonna compare.
Yeah.
We're gonna compare. We just won't like go into spoiler compares.
Yeah.
But I had a lot more fun with this one. I don't know if it's the modern take on it. The modernness of it was a little more attractive to me right off the bat. I was like, okay, this movie is better. I don't know. Maybe I just couldn't get into the 80s feel of the last one, and this one I don't know. I was into it more. Yeah. And also seeing it in the theater, that can make a difference.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think I mean the beginning of the original, I was into it at the beginning of the original. I was into it for a while. But this one definitely I much more enjoyed this one. I did not think Beetlejuice was gross and like he was a good character in this one.
A little more bearable.
Yeah. He wasn't like just disgusting. And yeah, this story, the way that they paid homage to the original, even like the opening credits and going back to the town, it was really cool how they like paid respect to the original in so many small details. And even with Jeffrey Jones not being in the movie, they still had his character in the movie. And like they, I loved how they did that. We'll talk more about it in spoilers maybe.
Yeah. Talk about why he wasn't in the movie too.
I'm curious.
There are reasons. I do know.
Oh, I'm excited to hear.
Get the
juice.
Get
the juice. Make an Arnold Palmer. The tea and
the juice. So Joel, what do you think? How did you like it in comparison?
I enjoyed this one. I mean, I liked the first one too, so it's not, unless it's, I feel like the only way you're not gonna like this one is if you let nostalgia for the first one, like, kind of take over, because there are definitely differences between Beetlejuice in this one than the first movie. He is a lot tamer in this movie. He still is a cartoon, but he's a tamer cartoon in this one than he was in the first movie. And I think Jenna Ortega as the daughter of Lydia is a perfect casting. She's Wednesday, like it's just it fits. Well, I feel like Lydia in the first movie was more Wednesday than Jenna Ortega in this movie. Like
Well, yeah, she didn't have, I was kind of expecting her to have more of Lydia as a kid, kind of style and like attitude and stuff, but she actually didn't. But I kind of liked that, it
she always has the same look. Where it's like this.
Well,
hey,
it's funny,
like her eyes get like super big and she like look off to the side, or she's got her signature face.
And as an adult, it's amazing how, like you said, she always plays a kid.
She's like 25 in real life.
And she plays a kid well. She's not one that looks like, because sometimes you see these movies or these shows that it's clearly adults playing teenagers. It's not like a clear like, okay, that's an adult playing a teenager.
She is 22. She's only 22.
Oh, she's only 22. Okay. Yeah, because she was on
2002.
Because she started on the Disney shows, and that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she was like 20 when she was in those shows. I will say Beetlejuice definitely was more likable in this. He had more of a story to him. He was in it more.
Yeah.
His story was like he had a kind of his own thing going on, but then he was also attached to the other stories going on.
Yeah.
So his character mattered more. In this.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where too he's more likable because there's stakes for his character.
Yeah.
Like he's not just this goofball that has really that's just a silliness to add to the movie. Like he's an important character.
Yeah. And he was enjoyable when he was in the movie. He wasn't like, it wasn't like, ugh, get this guy off, you know? I don't know. I think like it really bugged me how he like, how like in the first one, he like looked up the girl's skirt and like, like made
there's some
gross comments. And I'm like, ugh.
Right.
Like,
there's a scene or a thing that he wants in the first film that is pretty creepy. That he demands to happen.
Yeah.
Which he demands in this movie, but it's
different.
A little more
because,
like tasteful.
Yeah.
So
she was
that
only
help.
16 in the first movie.
Yeah, and
but he's a demon, so he doesn't care. Like it's just
it was just like so. I don't know. I just could not get on board with that Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
and
now we got the more woke version of Beetlejuice. The more
he what I said he has something that he demands. She's only 16. I could just imagine if you haven't seen it, it's not that. It doesn't get like that. But
there is. The way if you don't know, then it sounds really
it's not
bad.
like a trigger.
It's still bad though. Like
it is.
It is, and he's just so raunchy in that first one. And so this one, it was so, he was a fun character and you were almost not necessarily rooting for him, but like, okay, call Beetlejuice, you know, like
we need his help.
Yeah. It's okay. Call him, you know, and you're like, you know, like worried, but then like, it's the best that you can do, you know, like, so you were like in there with them.
At that point, he's the lesser of two evils.
Michael Keaton, he looked pretty much the same. 30-something years later.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously not like exactly, but it wasn't too much of a difference. He looked like Beetlejuice again.
I love that they got the same.
Same cast.
Same cast.
And then Jenna Ortega and, you know, a couple of other side characters were added.
Really
cameo.
Well.
Cameo appearance for somebody too.
Yeah, I was like, "Is that?"
And
then, that is him.
Yeah.
Toward the beginning of the movie, it was early in the movie.
We'll talk about it in spoilers.
Yeah.
Hey.
He wasn't.
I want to give it away.
Mentioned in the cast until you actually see him on screen. So, you know what?
Anyway,
you saw it. I thought there was a lot going on.
Oh my gosh, there was so much. There was like multiple stories within.
I was not expecting so many
I think I know what you're talking about.
Different storylines with Jenna Ortega. She had her own little storyline. Lydia had hers. Then there was like the family dynamics, and you know, there was just, and then we have like a villain too, like
an actual villain
in the Beetlejuice world, the afterlife. And then we have William Dafoe too. His character was pretty funny.
He's the actor.
He's the actor who's
okay. What else? What do I know him from?
Oh, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Well, Dafoe has been in everything.
Okay, he is in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's the like Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Well, in this movie, he's
in this.
He's the guy who's like missing part of his head.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about grenade actually. Spider-Man.
He's one of the villains. He's
the Green Goblin.
Yeah. Oh, the Green Goblin.
Yeah, Two-Face.
Two-Face is Batman. Totally different. Different everything, really different. Like
okay, but he's the guy's he's Spider-Man's best friend's dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Green Goblin, the bad guy.
Well, I don't remember names. I think I thought Two-Face because in this he had his.
He kind of has like part of his head missing.
Yeah.
From a live grenade from when he was actually acting. Like, wow, okay.
I know his character was great. I really liked it.
He kept saying "keep it real" or something. Like, acting.
I remember what he said.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Is that what it was?
I think it was something like that. Something, yeah. So he played an actor playing a cop, pretty much,
and he really believed he was a
detective.
Cop.
Yeah.
And then in one scene they have like the lines,
the cue cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was more funny moments in this one. The effects looked even better, which of course, with time you're gonna get a little better, but
still practical though.
Yeah,
still
he still look good.
That's the thing with Tim Burton is like, especially with properties that he like loves, and that if he's gonna make another one it's gonna feel like the same movie.
Yeah.
He wanted only practical effects. I think there is some CGI in this movie, but mostly it's practical effects.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, man.
All right.
I had something meaningful. Oh, whatever. Anyway. Yeah.
Lydia looked pretty much the same. It was pretty cool how
oh my gosh,
Winona Ryder just really channeled that character and looked just like her, the hair and everything.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool how they were able to do that. Catherine O'Hara too.
Oh, yeah. Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
She does not age.
Yeah.
She does not.
It was pretty cool how she looks pretty much the same. And the characters weren't too different. The Halloween feel was pretty good. It did feel like a Halloween setting, which I always appreciate.
I don't want to talk about that in the spoiler section though, because dates weren't adding up to me. So I'll go into that.
We got some date issues here.
Yeah, I do.
Oh no. But yeah, I think we all kind of enjoyed it. And then negatives. Any negatives? I mean, it is what it is. For me, it's like, I could have the same kind of negatives as I did for the first one, just because it's not my style. Like, it's just, I'm not gonna like care to watch this again. It's a good, fun, little entertaining couple of hours. And that's it.
Oh, I would totally watch this one again. This would be a fun Halloween movie to watch again. Like, I would definitely throw this one on way more than I would throw the other one on.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah,
like,
if
way
I had
more.
to choose.
But I really enjoyed it. I don't know that I have like negatives really.
Yeah.
I think the one negative that isn't even a negative, it's actually kind of like a probably like a like, I don't know, positive, mix. Good, whatever. But bugged me was the voice of the Charles Dietz.
Oh.
Because it made me want to gag. And we'll talk about that more later when we do have spoilers. But that was probably the only thing that I was like, "Ooh, I don't like listening to this." Aside from that, dude, I like this movie.
There was one thing that could have been a negative, but then it turned in a different direction. So I was like, okay, I like this more. Because Jenna Ortega's character goes into kind of this side story that I thought, okay, this is corny.
Yeah.
And then it turns, so I was like, okay, cool. Now I'm more invested.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better to have that as its own story, though. Like to have the third one be about that, because I wanted to know more about that whole thing. Yeah. I wanted more time with that than we actually got.
Yeah, I like the way it went, true. But I could have gotten more of that. That was probably the most interesting part of the movie to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that was a good character that you could do a full another third movie on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how that developed, you know, over multiple scenes. It was like, okay, that's why this went down like that.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, I had some ideas, some thoughts, but I didn't like know for sure what it was. And so it was still like cool when you found out. It was like, oh, that's why.
Yeah, there's something off.
So even though you had these ideas of like, what is this? You know, like what's going on here? It still hit you. Yeah, I like that.
Should we rate it?
Yeah.
All right.
I keep feeling like I had more to say, and then I just keep...
All right, I will go first this time.
Go.
I'm gonna go 78.
Okay. Joel?
Okay. I'm gonna go 84.
All right. Okay. So you did like it a little more?
I did. As much as I did enjoy the story and everything in the first movie, my biggest negative was Michael Keaton in that movie, which he wasn't a negative in this movie for me. So I do like the comic, the cartoony Beetlejuice, but I like it more tamed down. And this was a more tamed down version of what the first one was. So, and I like the story and everything. The acting was really good from everybody. There was a bigger cast in this one than there was in the first movie. I kind of wish we got Alec Baldwin and Jeannie Davis in this. But they were mentioned.
They were.
But yeah. So
okay. Well, I will say I did just think of one negative too. I wanted them to have the classic song.
They did. Oh, which song?
Dale.
Oh, they had that.
They did? Okay,
yeah.
Fine. Not a negative.
I mean, it was like
I wanted it to be throughout.
It was at the
scene. Yeah, it was in the beginning of the
movie.
movie.
Yes. Yeah. I loved that actually. I was very glad that they did that. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Okay, never mind. That's not a negative. Hard to have a negative. Okay. I was thoroughly impressed with this movie and thought it was way better than the first one. I enjoyed it.
Yay.
Huh?
And now she's a Tim Burton fan. Yay.
No. Don't go that far. But I'm going to give it an 82.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was way better.
72.
Letter.
It was at 70.
She was at 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she went up.
I thought you were going to go higher than 82.
You thought it was going to be higher than 82? Oh, no, not higher than 82. It's still Beetlejuice.
Okay.
This is a 100.
I have a negative to add. I thought the ending was unnecessary. The stuff with Jenna Ortega, and I'm glad it wasn't the way it was portrayed, but I did not think that was necessary.
It was funny.
What was the point of this?
Because they had to have that character in one more time. That was a funny.
I guess it shows that he's like haunting her,
I don't know what part you're talking about.
Okay, we'll talk about it in the spoilers because you are giving stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is.
All right. Well, that is the end of this portion of the review. We're now going to get into spoiler talk. And there are a number of scenes to discuss and a number of plot points to talk about. So you'll definitely... Stuff. Oh, the time stuff. Yes. That is really important right now. So if you want to hear about that, then please join us on Patreon, patreon.com/ScareTalk. You get 7 days free just for joining. And you can look at all of the past content and the upcoming content, including this one. And so you'll want to do that if you want to stick around and, hear the spoiler stuff. Otherwise,
this isn't scary.
Let's get scary.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.